The path of Buddhism is a deep and transformative journey that can lead us to a place of greater understanding and balance. When we speak of Buddhism, it's common to associate it with meditation and the pursuit of enlightenment, but these practices are just one part of what this philosophy has to offer. Buddhism, in its essence, is a path to wisdom, compassion, and inner freedom, helping us deal with the challenges of everyday life in a more serene and balanced way. Buddhist practice is more than just a set of rituals or beliefs. It offers a profound understanding of the human mind and the mechanisms that govern us. By learning about the teachings of the Buddha, we can begin to see more clearly the causes of human suffering and, most importantly, how we can overcome them. The key to the transformation that Buddhism offers lies in its fundamental principles, which invite us to live with more attention, more love, and more wisdom. The first steps toward entering this path involve understanding the Four Noble Truths, which are the foundation of Buddhism. The first of these tells us that suffering is an inevitable part of the human experience. We all go through moments of pain, anguish, loss, and frustration. No matter our background, social class, or circumstances, suffering is something that unites us all. At first glance, this may seem discouraging, but the second noble truth offers us great hope. It teaches us that the root of suffering lies in our own desires, attachments, and aversions. This is a powerful revelation because it means we have the power to reduce our suffering by transforming our own attitudes and thoughts. The third noble truth gives us an even more optimistic view. It is possible to achieve the cessation of suffering. This is the promise of a life free from constant suffering, a life where we can find deep and lasting peace. And this is where the fourth noble truth comes in, guiding us to the path of practice. The Noble Eightfold Path is the set of practices and behaviors that help us walk this journey toward the cessation of suffering and the realization of inner peace. But Buddhism is not limited to teaching about suffering and its causes. It also gives us concrete tools to transform our lives. Meditation, for example, is a central practice, but there are many other ways to cultivate mindfulness and compassion in our daily routine. As we bring these practices into our lives, we can begin to notice significant changes in the way we think, feel, and act. Over time, our perspective on the world transforms, and we begin to experience life in a fuller and more conscious way. What is important to understand about Buddhism is that it is not merely a philosophy to be studied intellectually, but a practice to be lived. It is not about blind belief, but about a personal and direct experience with reality. As we dedicate ourselves to this practice, we learn step by step how to live in a more conscious, compassionate, and harmonious way with what truly matters. Exploring the teachings of the Buddha. What does he teach us? The first and most essential teaching of the Buddha is the understanding that the human mind is the key to our happiness and suffering. Buddha taught us that our actions, words, and thoughts are shaped by the way we see the world. Often our perceptions are distorted by limiting beliefs and attachments that prevent us from seeing things as they truly are. Buddhist practice helps us cultivate a clearer mind, free from distractions, allowing us to see reality more deeply. By focusing our attention on the present moment, we learn to dissipate the excessive thoughts that typically accompany us, leaving us anxious or regretful. When we practice mindfulness or sati, we learn to live in the here and now, without losing ourselves in past concerns or future anxieties. This practice has the power to transform our everyday experience, turning each moment into an opportunity for peace and self-awareness. Furthermore, Buddhism teaches us that suffering is not an isolated experience, but something that connects us with others. We all go through difficulties at some point in life, and by becoming more aware of the suffering of others, we can cultivate compassion. Compassion is the transformative force that motivates us to act for the benefit of others, and it is one of the most valued qualities in Buddhism. It is not just about feeling pity or sadness for others, but about genuinely wanting to alleviate their suffering and help them find peace and happiness. Reflecting on these teachings, we realize that the path of Buddhism is an invitation to live with greater harmony and balance. It is not about escaping reality or seeking superficial happiness, but about learning to navigate life's challenges with more wisdom and compassion. By following the Buddha's teachings, we can find an inner peace that does not depend on external circumstances, but arises from the inner transformation of our own minds. The path of meditation, deepening the practice. Meditation is undoubtedly one of the most emblematic practices in Buddhism. It offers us a direct and effective way to transform our minds and achieve a state of inner peace. Although meditation is often associated with a seated and silent practice, it can be carried out in many different ways. The goal of meditation is to train the mind to be more attentive, present, and focused. Over time, this allows us to see our emotions and thoughts more clearly, without becoming identified with them or letting them dominate us. There are various forms of meditation in Buddhism, each with its own focus and purpose. Vipassana meditation, for example, seeks deep understanding of the nature of the mind and reality, while metta meditation focuses on cultivating loving kindness and compassion. Both practices have the power to transform us from the inside out, helping us develop qualities such as patience, generosity, and wisdom. Meditation practice is not something that happens overnight. It requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to dive deep into the internal experience. As we practice, we begin to notice how our minds tend to get distracted by incessant thoughts and turbulent emotions. Meditation teaches us to observe these thoughts without becoming entangled with them, creating a space of peace and clarity. Over time, this space expands, and we begin to live in a more conscious and balanced way. Her Noble Eightfold Path, a guide for living with wisdom, morality, and mental discipline. The core of Buddhist practice lies in the Noble Eightfold Path, which provides us with a comprehensive guide to living a life of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. This path is divided into 8 interconnected factors, and each one plays a crucial role in helping us achieve the cessation of suffering. By following this path, we gradually cultivate the qualities needed to live a life of compassion, mindfulness, and inner peace. 1. Right understanding, samma ditthi. The first step in the Noble Eightfold Path is right understanding. This refers to developing a correct and profound understanding of the nature of reality. It involves seeing things as they truly are, understanding the impermanent and interconnected nature of all phenomena, and recognizing the 4 noble truths. Right understanding means recognizing that suffering exists, understanding its causes, and realizing that there is a way to end it. It is the foundation upon which all other aspects of the path are built. When we develop right understanding, we begin to see the world with clearer eyes. We understand that the craving and attachment that lead to suffering are not inherently part of life, but are the result of our misperceptions. With this understanding, we can gradually free ourselves from the cycle of attachment and suffering that keeps us trapped in an endless loop of dissatisfaction. 2. Right intention, samma sankappa. The second factor is right intention, which involves cultivating the right attitude or motivation. This means developing intentions rooted in compassion, kindness, and renunciation of harmful desires. Right intention is about aligning our intentions with the goal of ending suffering for ourselves and others. It is an ongoing practice of bringing our minds back to the right path when we find ourselves veering toward negative or harmful thoughts. This aspect of the path emphasizes the importance of intention in shaping our actions. While our actions are important, it is the intention behind them that truly matters. By cultivating pure intentions, we create the foundation for ethical behavior and mental peace. 3. Right speech, samma vaka. The third factor is right speech, which teaches us to be mindful of the words we use and to speak in ways that are kind, truthful, and helpful. This means refraining from lying, gossiping, harsh speech, or idle chatter. Our words have a powerful impact on both ourselves and others, and when we speak with mindfulness, we contribute to the creation of a harmonious and peaceful environment. Right speech is also about speaking with wisdom, not just avoiding harmful words, but ensuring that our speech is beneficial, uplifting, and truthful. By practicing right speech, we create a space of respect and understanding in our interactions with others. 4. Right action, samma kammanta. The fourth factor is right action, which involves behaving ethically and in accordance with the 5 precepts of Buddhism. These precepts guide us in refraining from actions that cause harm to others, such as killing, stealing, or engaging in sexual misconduct. Right action also encourages us to cultivate generosity, honesty, and integrity in our behavior. Through mindful actions, We begin to live in harmony with others and contribute to the well-being of the world around us. Right action is about aligning our actions with our values and ensuring that we act with compassion and kindness toward all living beings. It is an expression of the moral discipline that supports our journey on the path. 5. Right livelihood, Sama Ajiva. The fifth factor is right livelihood, which encourages us to earn a living in a way that is ethical and does not cause harm to others. This means avoiding occupations that involve deceit, exploitation, or harm to living beings, such as dealing in weapons, intoxicants, or human trafficking. Right livelihood promotes working in a way that benefits both ourselves and society as a whole. Choosing right livelihood is an important step in creating a life that reflects our ethical values. It is not only about making a living, but also about making a meaningful contribution to the world while upholding the principles of compassion and integrity. 6. Right effort, Sama Vayama. The sixth factor is right effort, which involves putting in the necessary effort to cultivate wholesome qualities and abandon unwholesome ones. This means striving to develop positive mental states, such as loving kindness, compassion, and mindfulness, while letting go of negative mental states, such as hatred, greed, and delusion. Right effort is about finding balance and perseverance on the path of practice. It is important to note that right effort is not about forcing or striving aggressively. Rather, it is about applying consistent, gentle effort to transform our habits, thoughts, and behaviors in alignment with the path. Over time, this effort becomes a natural part of our daily life and contributes to our growth on the spiritual journey. 7. Right mindfulness, Sama Sati. The seventh factor is right mindfulness, which is one of the most central practices in Buddhism. Right mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware of our thoughts, feelings, and actions in every moment. This involves observing our mind with non-judgmental awareness, noticing when we are caught up in distractions or negative patterns, and gently bringing ourselves back to the present moment. Mindfulness is not just about sitting in meditation, but about cultivating awareness throughout our daily activities. Whether we are eating, walking, working, or talking, right mindfulness invites us to be fully engaged with the present, without letting our minds wander off into the past or future. By cultivating mindfulness, we develop the ability to respond wisely and compassionately to every situation. 8. Right concentration, Sama Samadhi. The final factor is right concentration, which refers to the cultivation of deep mental focus and concentration. This is typically developed through meditation, where we train the mind to concentrate on a single object, such as the breath, a mantra, or a visual object. By developing deep concentration, we can still the mind and achieve clarity and insight. Right concentration is a gradual process that requires patience and practice. As we cultivate concentration, our ability to focus becomes sharper, and we gain deeper insights into the nature of the mind and reality. This factor of the path ultimately leads to the experience of wisdom and the realization of the true nature of existence. The transformative power of the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is not just a theoretical concept, but a practical guide that we can integrate into our daily lives. By cultivating right understanding, right intention, right speech, and all the other factors, we gradually transform our minds and actions, moving closer to the goal of ending suffering and achieving lasting peace. As we practice the Eightfold Path, we begin to experience profound changes in our lives. We become more mindful, more compassionate, and more at peace with ourselves and the world around us. The path is not always easy, and there may be setbacks along the way, but with patience and perseverance, we can gradually overcome the obstacles that arise. Invitation to reflect and engage. Now that we've explored the Noble Eightfold Path and its transformative potential, I invite you to reflect on these teachings in your own life. How can you begin to apply these principles to your daily routine? What areas of your life could benefit from a deeper understanding of the Eightfold Path? If you find this content helpful and inspiring, I'd love for you to consider sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what resonated with you or how you plan to incorporate these teachings into your practice. Your reflections matter, and your engagement helps build a supportive community for all of us who are walking this path together. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I'd be so grateful if you did. Your support allows us to keep creating meaningful content, and I truly appreciate every single person who chooses to be part of this journey with us. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to sharing more insights with you in the next part of our exploration, the practice of meditation, the key to mindfulness and transformation. In Buddhism, meditation is not simply a practice. It is a transformative tool that has the power to radically change the way we experience life. It is through meditation that we begin to truly understand the mind, observing its tendencies and habits, and gradually cultivating a state of peace and awareness. Meditation is at the core of the Buddhist path, allowing practitioners to connect more deeply with the present moment and to unlock insights into the nature of reality. While many may think of meditation as sitting in silence for extended periods, it's essential to understand that meditation is much more than that. It is a broad practice that encompasses various forms, each with its own purpose and benefits. However, all forms of meditation in Buddhism share the same aim: to quiet the mind and develop insight into the true nature of existence. 1. Mindfulness meditation, vipassana. One of the most widely known and practiced forms of meditation in Buddhism is vipassana meditation, often referred to as insight meditation. Vipassana aims to cultivate clear, penetrating awareness of the body and mind. This practice involves observing physical sensations, thoughts, and emotions without attachment or judgment. It helps us see things as they truly are, free from the distortions of our personal biases and preconceived notions. Through vipassana, we develop the ability to observe the impermanent nature of all things. We realize that everything, our thoughts, emotions, and even our bodies, is constantly changing. This understanding helps to reduce attachment, because we come to realize that clinging to anything, whether it's a fleeting thought or a material possession, only causes suffering. The goal of vipassana is not to suppress our thoughts or emotions, but to develop a deep understanding of them. By learning to observe them without reacting, we begin to let go of their power over us. This practice fosters wisdom, clarity, and insight into the nature of suffering and the path to its cessation. 2. Loving-kindness meditation, metta. Another essential form of Buddhist meditation is metta meditation, or loving-kindness meditation. The practice of metta is centered on cultivating love and compassion for oneself and others. It involves silently repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be at peace," and then gradually extending these wishes to others, including loved ones, neutral people, and even those with whom we may have conflicts. Metta meditation helps to counter negative emotions such as anger, hatred, and resentment. As we cultivate feelings of loving kindness, we transform the way we relate to others, replacing judgment and criticism with compassion and understanding. Over time, this practice can foster deep, unconditional love for all beings, helping to dissolve the boundaries that divide us. What makes metta meditation unique is its focus on expanding love and kindness outward, not just inward. While it is essential to first cultivate love for ourselves, metta encourages us to radiate these feelings to all beings, creating a sense of interconnectedness and universal compassion. 3. Concentration meditation, samatha. In addition to mindfulness and loving-kindness meditation, another important practice in Buddhism is samatha meditation, which focuses on concentration. Samatha, meaning calm or peace, is a form of meditation that involves focusing the mind on a single object, such as the breath, a sound, or a visual object. The purpose of samatha is to develop deep concentration and stillness, calming the restless mind and fostering clarity. While the goal of samatha meditation is not to develop insight into the nature of reality, as with vipassana, it plays a crucial role in preparing the mind for deeper meditation. By strengthening our ability to concentrate, we create the foundation for more profound insight and wisdom. Concentration is essential in Buddhism because it helps us avoid distractions and gain control over the fluctuations of the mind, which often lead to confusion and suffering. Samatha meditation is often practiced as a preliminary step before engaging in vipassana or other insight-based meditations. It helps us develop the mental discipline necessary to sustain long periods of focused attention and to develop a clear understanding of the impermanence of all things. 4. walking meditation, kinhin. In addition to seated meditation, Buddhism also offers the practice of kinhin or walking meditation. This practice is often used to complement sitting meditation sessions, providing an opportunity to bring mindfulness into movement. During walking meditation, practitioners walk slowly and with deliberate attention to each step, coordinating their breath with their movements. The goal is to maintain a focused awareness on the present moment, just as in sitting meditation. Walking meditation offers a powerful way to bring mindfulness into our daily lives. It is a great practice for those who may struggle with sitting still for long periods or who want to cultivate mindfulness while engaged in an activity. By focusing on each step and each breath, we can experience a sense of calm and presence, no matter where we are or what we're doing. Walking meditation can be practiced anywhere, whether in nature, in a quiet room, or even along a busy street. It allows us to connect more deeply with our bodies and surroundings, grounding us in the present moment and helping us become more aware of the world around us. 5. The role of meditation in daily life. While formal meditation practice, whether it's sitting, walking, or another form, is essential, Buddhism also teaches that meditation is not limited to a specific time or place. The true challenge lies in bringing mindfulness into every aspect of our daily lives. It's about carrying the calm, focus, and compassion developed during meditation into every interaction, every decision, and every experience. Mindfulness in daily life can be cultivated through simple practices, such as paying attention to our breath as we go about routine activities, eating mindfully, or listening with full presence when talking to others. The more we practice mindfulness throughout our day, the more we begin to notice how our mind tends to wander, how we get caught up in judgments and distractions, and how we can redirect our attention back to the present moment. Every moment becomes an opportunity for meditation, whether we're washing dishes, walking down the street, or having a conversation with a friend. The more we integrate mindfulness into our lives, the more we begin to experience a sense of peace and clarity that transcends the boundaries of formal meditation sessions. The power of meditation for transformation. Meditation is the gateway to inner transformation in Buddhism. It is through meditation that we begin to unlock the potential of our minds, cultivating a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. As we practice, we learn to let go of old patterns of thought, attachment, and suffering, and we open ourselves to a life of greater wisdom, compassion, and peace. The benefits of meditation are profound and far-reaching. Not only does it help reduce stress and anxiety, but it also fosters greater emotional balance, improves concentration, and promotes a sense of inner peace. Through consistent practice, we begin to see the world with greater clarity and compassion, responding to life's challenges with calm and wisdom, a gentle invitation to join the practice. As we wrap up this exploration of meditation in the Buddhist path, I invite you to reflect on your own practice. Have you tried meditation before? What challenges have you faced, and how can you begin to integrate these teachings into your daily life? Meditation is a lifelong journey, and every step you take brings you closer to a state of greater peace and understanding. The practice of compassion, embracing the heart of Buddhism. As we continue to explore the teachings of Buddhism, we must now turn our attention to one of the most vital and transformative qualities that the path emphasizes: compassion. Compassion is the cornerstone of Buddhist practice, and it is central not only to how we relate to others, but also to how we transform our own minds and hearts. In Buddhism, compassion is known as karuna, and it is the ability to empathize deeply with the suffering of others while also striving to alleviate it. It goes beyond simply feeling sympathy for someone's pain. It calls us to actively seek ways to relieve that suffering through our actions, words, and thoughts. Compassion is what fuels our desire to make the world a better place and to support others in their journey toward peace and happiness. The connection between wisdom and compassion. While wisdom and compassion are often thought of as separate qualities, in Buddhism they are deeply interconnected. True wisdom arises from a deep understanding of the impermanent and interconnected nature of all beings, which leads to the realization that the suffering of one is the suffering of all. When we truly understand that we are all interconnected, we naturally develop a compassionate heart, because we recognize that the pain of others is also our pain. Conversely, compassion brings wisdom into action. Without compassion, wisdom becomes dry and detached, but when it is coupled with compassion, it becomes a living force that drives us to help others. In the Buddhist tradition, it is said that wisdom without compassion can lead to arrogance, while compassion without wisdom can lead to misguided or ineffective actions. Therefore, the path involves cultivating both of these qualities simultaneously, balancing the heart and the mind. The Bodhisattva ideal, compassion in action. The Bodhisattva is the embodiment of compassion in Buddhism. A Bodhisattva is someone who has attained a certain level of enlightenment, but has chosen to remain in the world, not to enter final nirvana, in order to help all sentient beings achieve liberation from suffering. The Bodhisattva ideal challenges us to extend our compassion not just to those we care about, but to all beings, regardless of their circumstances. By aspiring to live like a Bodhisattva, we are encouraged to continually develop our capacity for compassion, no matter how difficult or challenging it may seem. The Bodhisattva vows to work tirelessly for the benefit of others, placing the welfare of all beings above their own desires and interests. This selfless dedication to alleviating suffering is the highest expression of compassion in Buddhism. Loving kindness in daily life. We often think of compassion as something abstract or distant, something reserved for monks or spiritual practitioners. But the beauty of the Buddhist path is that these qualities can be practiced by anyone, anywhere. Compassion is not limited to grand gestures or monumental acts. It can be expressed in our everyday interactions with others. Whether it's showing patience to someone who is upset, offering a helping hand to a neighbor in need, or simply listening with an open heart to someone who needs to talk, small acts of kindness and love are what build the foundation of a compassionate life. In Buddhism, it is said that even the smallest act of kindness creates ripples in the world, sending out waves of love and goodwill that touch countless lives. Loving kindness meditation, metta, is an important practice that helps cultivate these feelings of love and compassion. When we practice metta, we are not only wishing for the happiness of others, but we are training our hearts to remain open and receptive to the suffering of the world. This practice over time helps us to develop a natural, unconditional compassion that extends to all beings, regardless of their background, actions, or history. Compassion toward ourselves. It's essential to remember that compassion begins with ourselves. In Buddhism, self-compassion is not seen as selfish or indulgent. It is seen as a necessary foundation for being able to extend compassion to others. If we are harsh, critical, or unkind toward ourselves, it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to show genuine kindness to others. Through meditation and mindful reflection, we learn to treat ourselves with the same care and tenderness that we would offer to a dear friend. We learn to forgive ourselves for our mistakes and to embrace our imperfections, knowing that we are all human and that suffering is part of the shared human experience. When we cultivate self-compassion, we are more resilient in the face of challenges, and we are better equipped to offer kindness and love to others. The transformative power of compassion in our world. In the world today, there is much suffering. We are constantly confronted with news of war, poverty, injustice, and environmental destruction. It's easy to feel overwhelmed or helpless in the face of such suffering, but the practice of compassion offers us a way to make a difference, even if only in small ways. Every compassionate action, no matter how small, is a step toward healing the world. The Buddhist path teaches that by cultivating compassion in our hearts, we help to transform not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us. As we practice compassion, we create a ripple effect of kindness and understanding that has the potential to touch many lives, leading to a more peaceful, harmonious world. Compassion allows us to break down the barriers that separate us from others, fostering a sense of connection and unity. It helps us to see beyond the surface differences that divide us and to recognize the shared humanity in every person we meet. This deep sense of connection is the foundation of a compassionate and peaceful society. As we come to the end of this exploration of Buddhist teachings, I encourage you to reflect on the practices of mindfulness, meditation, and compassion. These are not abstract concepts, but real, tangible tools that can bring about deep transformation in your life. Through mindfulness, we learn to see the world more clearly. Through meditation, we cultivate peace and insight. And through compassion, we open our hearts to others and help heal the suffering in the world. I invite you to take the next step on your journey, whether you are new to Buddhism or a long-time practitioner, by integrating these teachings into your daily life. Start small, and with patience and dedication, you will begin to experience the profound peace and wisdom that comes from living the path of Buddha. If this video resonated with you, and you're ready to continue exploring the teachings of Buddhism, I would love for you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. How have these teachings inspired you? What practices are you excited to incorporate into your life? And if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Your support helps us to continue creating content that is meaningful and enriching. Thank you for being part of this community. And remember, whether you're just beginning your journey or have been on the path for some time, every step you take brings you closer to a life of peace, wisdom, and compassion.